Hello folks, yep, this is your man Tabo, and this is another session of JavaScript for web developers. Yeah, so like I said, this is a beginner's course. Last time we were together, we were working on functions, so I hope you played around and that you have a better understanding, or that you're getting used to using functions. So this time we're going to move on to arrays. Okay, so I'm just going to jump onto it. I'm not going to waste any time. So this is last time's session, so I'm just gonna get rid of all of that. Yeah, and then I'm gonna save this as lesson number 5. Okay, so there we go. Now what are arrays? Basically arrays, I can compare them to variables. It's like a variable, but a variable that holds more than one piece of information. So what an array is basically, yeah, a container that holds multiple forms of information. It could be strings, it could be numbers, it could be objects. We haven't gotten to objects yet, but we will get there. It could be Boolean, so it could hold basically different types of data. So okay, so let's get right to it. So now I'm going to teach you how to create an array. So this is how you create an array. I'll say let list equal, then inside I will type in, I'll say I'll choose book titles. I'll say mind power, then another one will be, let's say, Harry Potter. I mean, this could include graphic novels, whatever. I'll say darkness Watchmen. Yeah, I like comic books. A genuine half moon kid. This is how I read when I was in high school. Okay, so now we've got our list. Okay, so as you can see, the list is full of book titles which are in string format, and if I wanted to see what is inside of the list, then I would use what we call indexes. Now how it works is that basically this list is calculated from 0. So if you want to calculate how many items are in this list, instead of counting from 1 with arrays, you count from 0. So it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till infinity. So in order for us to actually access any of this information, we will have to say list. This is how you do it. You say list, and then you specify the index. Now index 0 would be where manpower is, and then Harry Potter darkness, so it will be 0, 1, 2. Let me increase, yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, this is how you access the index. So just to make an example, I'll actually just use I will just console.log it, and I'll say list 0, and let's see what we get. Okay, there you go, mind power. And so if I change this and I make it 1, there you go, we've got Harry Potter. And we go 2, we've got darkness, and on it goes, right? Okay, well, it was actually, this is as big as it can get. I thought that I didn't do it because I forget. I don't know, sometimes these things slip my mind. Anyway, so yeah, like we've seen, this is how lists are declared. And so I'm just gonna jump right into it, because I mean, if you use arrays, then you've got to know what a for loop is. Basically what a for loop is it's a way of going through the entire list. So if you wanted to search through a whole array to see what is in there, or to even find out what the size of an array is, you would use a for loop. For instance, before I go into for loops, I will just do this again. Let me just say, do another console.log, and then I'll say list.length. And what this will do, it will actually give me the length of this list. So it will tell me how many items are in the list. So let's see how many. 5. So this is what I can just say the list of items in list equal, yes, the list of items in list equal 5. Okay, so now that we get that, now we're going to go into for loops. Now what a for loop is, okay, and then I will briefly explain what all of this means. Now in a for loop, I'll use let because I want to be current. First you will declare a variable, right? And you can call it whatever you want, but this is standard, like I or J, but usually this is I, and you can just leave it as it is, it's fine. But you can call this variable whatever you want. This is actually it doesn't have to be I, but I is quite standard, so everybody knows it. So you declare a variable, and then it will be equal to 0 in this case, and then you will take that variable and then you will compare it to the length of your array. So what this for loop, it actually does 3 things. It creates a variable, and then it takes this variable and then it weighs it against the length of the array, and then afterwards, once this has been done, then it will increment this variable right here. So it starts from 0, so once this loop ran once, it will increment it by 1, and then I will be 1. And then it will come again incremented by 1, and then it will be 2. So on and on it loops. So what that would mean is that the array is 5. So 0 is smaller than 5. We can all agree. As soon as this is no longer smaller than 5, this is when the loop would stop. And so this is basically how a for loop works. And so I would put out all of the information on the console. So this is how I'm going to do it. Say console.log list, and then I will give it I. Okay. Yes, and then we will just let it run like that. So let's see what we get. Reference array is not. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Yes, I forgot to change this thing over here. You see, so now we've got a list. You see, this is where it starts. Mind Power, Harry Potter, Darkness, Watchmen, Genuine Half Moon Kid. Okay, so in order to make it more elaborate, I'll just then add some text, and I'll say list index, then in index I'm gonna say, wait, okay, I'm gonna erase the whole thing. I'm just gonna use formatting, it's a lot easier. So I'm just gonna say list index, say list index I is equal to list, yeah. So it will give you the number of the index, and then it will give you its value. Okay, so this should work. So list index 0 equals mind power list index 1. I'll just put some space in there just to make it a bit neater. So there we go. List index 0 is equals to mind power list index 1 equals Harry Potter, blah blah blah. You get the point. So I will break it down again. This is how it works. Okay, this is how a for loop works. We've got this variable which we declared, which is equals to I, and so we take this I and then we measure it against the length of our list, this list that we created over here. This will be 5 and our I is 0. So this here is the incrementation. After every loop, once the loop has finished running, it will increment, like I said before. So it's 0 and then it runs once. Once the loop is ended, it increments, then it's 1. It comes back again. So now it's 1 smaller than the list length, which is 5. Here, 1 is smaller than 5, we can agree. Then another loop, then it's 2. Is it still smaller than? Yes, 2. Another loop. Is it still smaller than 3? Yes, another loop, 2. And then 4. And then 5. then it stops. Okay, so yeah, you get the point. So because of yes, so that is pretty much it. So you can do a whole lot of things with arrays. So not only can you put strings, but you can also use numbers. So instead of having Harry Potter, oh, let me just do this. In between, I'll just add a number. I'll say 34, and then I'll say 60, and then I'll say true, and here I'll say false. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got all these other values that I've added here. So we can try it out, see what we get. Oh yeah, list index 0 is mine power and 34. So basically you can mix your list up. You can do anything you want with it. You're quite flexible with how you want to do it. But this is what an array is. It's basically like a variable which carries a lot of information or different individual items. Yeah, so basically you can do whatever you want with arrays. You can put any kinds of information, but since you do not know about objects, we're still coming to objects. So when I teach you about objects, then it will take you to another level, and then you can see just how you can take all of these things that you've learned, just normal variables, string types, numbers, and objects and arrays, and how you can just play with all this information and just make beautiful things happen. So yeah, for now I'll just keep it as short as this. This is how an array works. And okay, now another thing that I want to mention is that arrays have their own inbuilt methods. Whereas because an array is an object, once you understand what an object is, then it will make more sense. But they have methods with which you can manipulate arrays as you like. So there's a couple of them. I will still teach them to you, but for now I'll just give you the basics so that you can play around with this, and then we will get to all the heavy stuff later. So for now, yeah, just take this, play around with it, trying to keep it simple. For those that are smart, maybe this might be boring to you, but for those that are beginning, this is exactly what you need to start playing around. Simple stuff. Complexity is just basically simplicity layered on top of each other or one another, however you want to put it. But yeah, so once you get the basics, you can create as much complexity as you like. So I don't want to blab a lot. This has been a nice session. It's your boy T. I'm out. Peace and love to all my brothers and sisters. Till next time. Ciao. If you thought this video was good and helpful, please press that like button. For any questions or input, just remember to leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to my channel and I'll keep more stuff coming your way.